The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 123 of The Daily Mother Swole. Episode 123, discussing when to change it, when to change your routine, when to change your plateau, meaning change your shit so you don't plateau. So if you're starting to get results and you start hitting that level when you just stop seeing as much progress, when to change. Now, that could be one of those points. It doesn't have to be when you plateau. That's just a big common one. If you're not seeing progress, either one, you're not doing something right, or you need to mix it up. So if you're not seeing any kind of progression, if you're not seeing any kind of additional results, you need to change it up. And change up could be, I'm being very vague with this, change up could be change your frequency of workouts, your style of training, what type of exercise you do. It could mean your nutrition. It could mean any number of things. But if you're not getting the results you want, when to change things, when to know when to cut it, when to know when enough is enough. And that kind of plateau should be usually for a couple weeks at a time, because you don't necessarily see things when you change for a couple weeks. You don't necessarily see that kind of change. You don't necessarily see progress for 3 or 4 weeks when you change your diet. So if you change how you're eating, you're not necessarily going to see that progress for a couple weeks. You're not going to see necessarily strength gains for a couple weeks. You're not going to necessarily see any kind of muscle development for a couple weeks, and that's no joke. And a lot of times people think that when you change something, you're going to see instant results. You're going to see instant gratification. You're going to get instant gratification. You're going to get instant feedback, and that's not the case. And that's why most people fall out of the gym and fall out of that consistency and stop oftentimes just before they will see that progress and just before they're on that cuff, so to speak, of when results will take place. So don't stop early. You need to keep on going. And just think, if you stopped in January, maybe February was when you were going to start seeing results. Maybe February was that cusp. So every time you think you're about to, that you should quit, or that you want to quit, or if you do quit, just understand that if you went a little bit longer, maybe that's when it would have started kicking in. So you can't stop. You can't stop. You have to keep going. But there are times when you need to mix up, when you need to cut your losses and change things. So there's no more no plateaus. There's no more weight loss. There's no more composition change. There's no more muscle size. You might see progress. If you never saw progress to begin with, you might not be waiting long enough. If you wait 2 weeks, you might not be going long enough with what the routine that you're going to see progress. But if you've been doing it for a couple months or like a month or two, really you should start seeing some change after about 2 or 3 weeks, or at least know you're on the right track. So that's when you know, okay, what I'm doing is now working, time to mix it up. So your strength gains as well. If you're not getting stronger, over the course of a couple weeks, you know you need to change what you're doing. You know you need to change your routine, your process, your diet, your rep scheme, your resistance, your overload. Another reason, this is number like kind of 3 or 4, is bored/instinct. I have that in mind. If you're bored, if you're just tired of doing it. Now, boredom will lead towards physical boredom. If you're mentally bored, you're going to lose motivation. You might be less prone to working out. You might be more likely to quit gym sessions or leave early or put less effort into it. If you're bored with a routine, if you're bored with an exercise, this is a reason why a lot of people go towards CrossFit, even though CrossFit is a highly risky, dangerous, generally poor choice in terms of achieving a certain goal. CrossFit gets you better at CrossFit. It's not going to get you necessarily a better physique or what you actually want to do. It's more exciting. It changes all the time, too much actually, and it's so random, but that could be exciting. That's like ADD. It's the society we're in today. People have no attention span. They want channels that flash in their faces. You want Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, things just flashing all over the place. You have very little attention span, which is why that is attractive. That it's not something that, oh, you're going to have to do this for a long period of time for progression. You're going to have to do these sets for slow movements for 20 repetitions. It's going to take you 3 minutes for one set. Everyone's like, screw that. I just want to throw stuff around and run away. That's what CrossFit's about. And that's why people are attracted, because we're in a society where things are kind of snap, 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 even though it won't get you the results oftentimes that you actually really want. So entertainment, boredom, that could be a component. You need to mix it up if you know if you're that type of person. Some people will get mentally bored and that'll affect everything else they do. If you know you're that type of person, it's going to be even more important for you to pay attention and to catch those warning signs and to adjust early so you don't fall into that trap. You want to catch those things early as you can, but you have to know yourself. And that's part of what I always talk about with self-awareness. The more aware you are, the more conscious you are of how you function and how you work. That's going to make a big difference in your ability to catch those things, to adjust your program, to choose your type of exercise. And some forms of exercise, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's cardio, whether it's cycling, could be beneficial to certain people more than others, just for the main reason that psychologically they are attracted to it. They are likely to stick to it. They are motivated and intrigued by it and entertained by it. That's important to some people more than others. Other people can just eat their vegetables because they're supposed to. Some people need to be coddled. Some people need to be pretty colors. Ooh, flashing lights. They need to be entertained and stimulated. They can't put in the hard work without having some kind of, stimulation or, constant attention, so to speak. And everyone's different in that sense. So you might be one of those people. You might not be, but you might not know until you try. Just understand that different people work in different ways. So there's no right way to mix it up. There's no right reason necessarily why you have to change it or why you have to train a certain way. But once you find it and once you start seeing results, that's when you have to stick to it. But you got to try different things. If it's not working, don't be afraid to try something new. That being said, if you've been doing something just for a longer period of time, even if it is working, you should be aware that it might be coming a time to change. So if you've been doing something for 6+ weeks, you might be seeing change, but usually if you've been doing something for about 6 weeks or so, you are coming upon either the peak or the beginning of the plateau. Or potentially the beginning of the downfall. If you keep on doing resistance training without a break, you could be just getting to that point where you're going to hit that valley and that decline because you're going to start overtraining. And one of the signs of overtraining is actually you get weaker and you start losing strength because your body starts, breaking down because you're not giving your body a chance to recover. So when you are doing something for 6 weeks, for 8 weeks, be aware that you could change before you start seeing that plateau, where you don't have to actually hit that plateau, which is important. And that can be a way to constantly see progress. If you wait till you hit that plateau, all of a sudden, there you are, you're stuck, and then you have to change things, you have to get momentum again. If you keep that momentum going and you change before you hit that plateau, you're going to kind of keep on going up and up and up without hitting that flat part where your body can get stagnant and you can lose that constant progression. You could lose that momentum. And I've said in my raw, I've said in my driving while gainings, I've said this even in my Swole motions, momentum is important. And you have to, hold on to that momentum by keeping that pressure going. And you can keep momentum going. You can keep your body's inertia, and that power moving forward, but you have to be doing the right things, of course. And also, lastly, goals change. If your goals change, if you're starting to I want to start losing weight. I want to start focusing more on fat loss, not gaining, not building muscle. That's something that's going to cause your program to change. That's going to cause you to need to change your routine. If your goals change, you got to change the way you train. If you're looking to bulk more, you got to start eating more, lifting heavier. If you're looking to cut more, you might want to start eating less, maybe upping the fat, dropping the carbohydrates. You might change your training style a little bit, less bulky lifts, for example, if you're trying to be more slender. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to do more cardiovascular, more muscular endurance, you're going to be doing more supersets, shorter rest, higher repetition schemes. That's all going to depend on what your goals are. That could be more athletic. That could be more physique oriented. That could just be more strength oriented. Doesn't matter what it is. If your goals change, obviously your training has to change. So there's some reasons where you can mix, or when you have to mix it up, or when you should mix it up, or when you should start thinking about mixing up your routine. Understand that you want to mix up your routine. You want to change your routine. You want variety. The problem is people that do too much variety, they don't get adaptation because they add too much variety. Their body cannot adapt to too much variety because that's the actual antithesis of adaptation. You cannot adapt to many different things. You can adapt to certain things. If you stick to one thing too long, you can plateau, you adapt, and then you're not getting any alarm reaction, not getting stimulated, so then you don't grow. So then you need to change and create a new stimuli that your body can, shocker, react to. So you can create that variety in phases. And, a lot of great certification companies and program design experts on macrocycles, microcycles organize training periods around these periods of these cycles, or these phases, where you do a certain type of training for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe even 8 or 12 weeks, but then you change it. You drop the intensity, increase the repetitions, allow your body to recover a little bit from micro tears and from trauma, and then kick it up again so you're always progressing, whereas you're not just overloading to the point of breaking down, and you're not overloading in the same way to the point where you're just not seeing progress because your body gets bored. Your body gets bored, and it just doesn't seem, it doesn't see the change, or doesn't see the impact or the effect or the alarm or the reaction or the external stress anymore. And that's similar to, let's say you start driving a long distance to work every day. Let's say it's an hour, let's say it's 30 or 40 miles away. It'll seem really long the first few times. The more you do it, all of a sudden it'll seem like a blink of an eye. You'll just drive and people will be like, oh my God, that's so far. You're like, no, it's not that bad. If you never drive anywhere, you always drive a minute or two to work, all of a sudden you have to drive 40 minutes. Oh my God, it's so far. You just get used to it. It's the same distance. Nothing's changed. Your perception of it has changed. The same thing with your body. Nothing has changed with the resistance, but your body's reaction to it changes. Okay? I can burn coal all day, every day, but I can't burn fat. Any tips? I don't know what that means. I don't know what the heck that means. But that's kind of an interesting phrase. So I'm getting some questions on Periscope. Thank you for joining me. These are some tips. Remember, watch this through again. Watch us through again if you need to review some reasons why you can change up your routine. Remember, this is some suggestions and some things to think about when to change, when you might need to change to avoid a plateau, to change it up and to break through a plateau, or to mix it up so you don't ever hit that plateau period. This is an important concept of training. This is an important concept of training for the longevity for the rest of your life. Do not take this lightly, because you're going to have to change up your routine at some point as you move forward through your fitness career if you want to keep on seeing progress. If you're happy staying the same and just doing the same old thing over and over again, you're going to just have the same thing over and over again. If you want to keep on seeing progress and getting better, you're going to have to change things and work around your body's adaptation principles. And those are just basic principles of evolution and of any kind of species. So understand that this is a huge deal. Okay, I'll say for a few minutes after on Periscope, Busker, and Facebook Live, and I'll shut them down one at a time if there's no questions. So I'll get to that motivation question in a second on Periscope. Remember, everyone that's joining me for the first time, please subscribe. Visit my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swolenormous. I have 500 videos, exercise videos, every single daily Swole. This is episode 123. I have just about 100 driving while gainings, raw series, 30 Swole motions. I have a lot of material on there. You can also find me on Snapchat, Instagram. These are all, of course, on YouTube. And the Daily Swole is all on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher in podcast form if you want to listen to these. And there's 123 episodes. So if you drive a long distance to work, or if you mow the lawn, do the dishes, you can catch up on all the material that we've covered so far, which is a shit ton. So I'm here every day at 12 noon Eastern time. 12 noon Eastern time, that's New York City time. I'm in Miami, but East Coast of the United States. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 123 of The Daily Mother Swole. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time for episode 124. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day.